Hello and welcome into the KE Report. I'm your host, Shad Markwitz, and today we're getting an update on SilverX Mining, traded on the TSX.V under the ticker AGX, and on the OTCQB under the ticker AGXPF. And we're joined today with the CEO and director of SilverX Mining, José García. And Jose, it's great to get you back on the show. We were talking off mic. It's been over a year since we've had you on the KE Report, although we have hung out at some different conferences together, and just most recently at the Beaver Creek Conference in Colorado in September. And I was getting an update on SilverX and wanted to get you back on the show soon. So here we are looking at how things went in Q3, really looking at how things are going in Q4, and looking ahead to 2025. And for those not familiar with the company, SilverX Mining operates the Tangana Mine. This is part of the Nueva Recuperada Project in central Peru, looking at silver, gold, lead, and zinc production. And when you look at the Q3 numbers, Jose, it looks like year over year, you actually did have some good figures as far as increasing revenues compared to 2023. But one of the sticky points for investors is that costs seem to remain high. Your all-in sustaining cost at $26.20 per silver equivalent ounce produced. A lot of people would like to know, what is the initiative to bring that down? How are things looking for Q4 in a rough sense? And then looking ahead to 2025, what can you tell us about growth and expansion and the future of SilverX Mining?
Hi, Chad. Thank you for having us. It's a great pleasure to be with you again. And as you said, we've been meeting at a number of conferences and giving you updates. 2024 has been a pretty good year for SilverX. It's been a year of consolidation, and we are not happy with our share price. We are not happy with our all-in sustaining cost. But the reality is that we've been strengthening our production, we've been strengthening our team, and actually we are now positioned for a much better 2025. I'm going to tell you a few reasons why I believe that 2025 is going to be a great year, not only for SilverX, but also for many silver producers. I think that everyone is excited about silver, but the reality is that we've been doing our homework during the difficult years, and now we are ready to enjoy the upside, if you like. But you were making references to Q3 numbers. Reality is that Q3 was not entirely satisfactory. The month of September was difficult. We had low production, and reality is that overall, Q3 came about at 25% lower than we thought in terms of metal production. But reality is that still, despite all those challenges, we have a competitive all-in sustaining cost. If you compare SilverX with much bigger companies, we are in the same neighborhood, around the $25, $26 per ounce of silver. Why I think that we are going to improve? Well, small mines are always difficult. They always lag behind in terms of development, and it's difficult to catch up with production and, more importantly, grades. But I think we've been building the mine steadily, and Q4 is certainly going to be better than Q3, and it sets the right trend. What I do believe that's going to happen with SilverX is that as we continue to fix some of our operational issues, mainly rationalizing contractors, improving efficiency, so therefore reducing costs, we are going to be able to have a much more competitive all-in sustaining cost. I always said that I want to be below 20. Okay, that's a big challenge, especially for small companies. But the reality is that we'll continue on this journey of cost reduction and efficiencies, let's say, and we are going to certainly have a much better 2025. How we're going to get there? Well, larger tonnage and very good grades. Silver price is helping. That's the truth. We are mining silver, some gold, lead, and zinc. But the reality is that as long as we develop the mine at the right pace, we're going to have a really good Q1 and Q2. Then I'm anticipating that.
Well, let's dig into it a little bit more because, like as you say, you're producing silver, gold, zinc, and lead. You're going to increase the throughput. You're going to have higher grades. And your mining plan as you move into next year is also to look at putting out a resource update, because your team has been hard at work expanding the resources. Talk a little bit about the work the team has done to expand those resources, and when do you target you'll see that resource update next year?
Great question. I think really the greatest value of SilverX is that we put together a terrific silver district. Just for those who are not that familiar with the company, we own 20,000 hectares or 50,000 acres of a very big epithermal system. We have more than 200 veins. It's really big. It's really significant. And over the last 3 years since we went public, we've been very successful at increasing our resource. I think we did 3 resource increases or updates, and we are about to release the 4th. I was hoping to have it done by Q4. Reality is that a resource update depends on let's say, independent, qualified people. And at this point in time, we cannot control that, but we right next to the finish line. And I believe that the resource update is going to be significant. More importantly, because it adds tonnage, quantity, but also brings quality. We are looking at areas that I believe will be good grades, and that's the real value of SilverX. At present, we are only mining about 600 tons a day, and that's relatively small when it comes to any silver producer. But reality is that we are demonstrating that we can manage small mines. We can actually make cash flow with the small mines. But reality is that our project should be like 3 to 4 times the current size, and that's the real value for investors. So we are building the resource, we are building production, we are advancing on every front, let's say permitting and the like. So within a relatively short span of time, we're going to be able to increase the value of our company by a number of times.
Jose, how would you increase the throughput? What is the plant capacity? How much could you increase it? Would you have to invest in any other capital expenditures to increase the throughput moving down the road?
Yeah, our plant is permitted for 720 metric tons a day, which is already significant. If we manage to increase tonnage and particularly the head grade, we're going to be producing approximately 2 million ounces of silver equivalent. But the great opportunity is in expanding capacity. How we would do it, there is a number of options here. And then, one of the the nicest things about our project is the optionality. As we have several mining areas, we are in the final stages of an environmental impact assessment, so we could actually build a new plant in the new area of Tangana and continue to operate the current plant. So for a combined capacity in excess of 2,200 tons a day, in other words, that's almost 4 times the current capacity. But also, we're looking at options to increase our current facility at a very modest capital investment, which is a great opportunity. So perhaps I can see the project or the overall district evolving in different phases. We're at phase 1 or base case, and we're going to be optimizing that perhaps by increasing the current plant first and then building a second plant. Whatever option you look at is really value adding, because the NPV that we have at the moment is very attractive. The project is invested, is up and running. And really, when you look at the numbers of any expansion scenario, it's also really attractive. Okay. So I think that SilverX is becoming the company that I think will have the cheapest or the most efficient expansion out of the silver group. What I mean with this is that we're going to be able to go from 2 million ounces of silver equivalent to 5 or 6 at an extremely competitive CapEx or capital investment.
All right, so you've got the option to expand the existing plant, but also possibly invest into a new plant and then have both plants going. And as you say, almost 4x the amount of capacity at the plants if you have both of those going at the same time. So an interesting expansion and really growth profile for the company. But let's also talk about exploration growth. You did mention you have a district here, and so a lot of the focus has been at the Tangana mining unit, which makes sense near the Tangana mine, but you also have the Plata mining unit and the red silver mining unit. Talk to us about these 2 other areas, Plata and red silver, and just the expansion with the drill bit.
Yes, and that's actually very exciting because Tangana is the first area we drilled where we built a mine. There was very little, ancestral mining activities in that area, but we built a mine from scratch, and that's where we are operating today. The other 2 areas have been also subject to mining in the past, decades ago, and they were really interesting because they are higher grade. Now, red silver, if you look at our technical report, it's a very high grade, but it's narrow vein. And we've decided to place that as a 3rd option because Tangana and Plata have both quality, but also they have size. Plata is an area that will bring a good tonnage, I believe. I cannot say numbers, but that would be a forward-looking estimate, but it's certainly going to be a very good resource. But more importantly, as I said, is higher grade. And grade is king. And especially if we go into a bull market, or let's say bull silver market, we want to be mining in areas where we have high grade of silver. More importantly, in this kind of projects as we operate them in Peru, we are able to build mine capacity on a fast track. And that's what matters here. We're not going to be spending years and years waiting to build a mine. We're going to do it within a relatively short time. And I think within 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a district with 2 or 3 mines and a couple of processing facilities.
All right, so kind of a multi-mine, multi-processing center goal over the next few years. I guess let's just wrap things up with a big picture look forward, but also addressing where the company is valued. You make the point in your slide deck that SilverX is only trading at 0.2x price to NAV. So how could all of these initiatives coming together, a resource update, success with the exploration, increasing the mill throughput, increasing the grade, how does that all tie into a better valuation? And what would you like to leave investors with here today, Jose, as far as the big picture vision of SilverX?
I think, Shad, our story is relatively simple. And I'm going to talk about 3 things that I hope investors will be happy about. First, let's start from the resource. We are building a really solid resource, and our case is really spectacular when it comes to understanding the potential value of the district. On that, we've been successful and will continue to please investors. The production. The market is expecting SilverX to make positive cash flow. We've been struggling with that. There were some quarters we made some money, some other quarters we operated at a loss, but within overall break even. I think that's relatively good news in the sense that we just need to optimize the project. We need to improve efficiencies, but we are really next to making attractive cash flows. We just need a bit of patience, and we need obviously a bit of capital. But reality is that we are on track for that. So investors should actually be confident that, especially in a good market, in a good silver market, SilverX is going to be able to deliver. Okay. And the third part I wanted to mention is economics or finance, right? We've been a company that was bootstrapped since day one. We've raised little money, and with that little money, we built a mine and we built a district, which is pretty commendable. At the moment, we are working on raising non-dilutive money so we can improve our balance sheet. So we give confidence to investors that the company is going to be much more solid, but also we give a boost to the project. Many of the inefficiencies that we have in Tangana or our plan comes from the fact that we actually have invested little money. Okay, and building a mine on a shoestring is not easy at all. So if we manage to raise that non-dilutive money, the project is going to fly. And that's also the third item I think investors will be looking for. Again, resources, free cash flow out of production, and obviously an improved balance sheet. I think if we manage to do that within the next couple of quarters, the value of SilverX is going to go a number of times.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there for today, Jose. But great to get you on the KE report just to get an update on SilverX. We'll be looking for that resource update coming out at the beginning of next year. We'll be looking at the operations as Q4 numbers come out. When they come out, let's get back together again and maybe review the end of the year and Q4, and then look ahead to 2025. And like you say, looking to improve the balance sheet, looking to improve the cost profile of the company and the efficiencies of the mine. So a lot going on with SilverX. And if people listening in want to follow along with all the news flow, definitely click on the link below this interview. It takes you right over to the SilverX website, straight to their news section, so you can sign up for updates or follow along. And looking forward to our next conversation, Jose.
Thank you, Shad. Likewise, I look forward to meeting you again in a few weeks and wishing you all the very best for the end of the year.